The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kids traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
There we go. Shalom, salama, siemi, shalawam. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. This morning is June 17th. Please continue to keep me up in prayer. There's things I'm working on in the background, personal things that, sometimes, you don't want to air out your stuff. Well, thank you, Father. I'm doing this walk, this talk. I'm moving. And it's hard. It is hard. And the great thing about this is that the Most High is always faithful. Even when these things they're hard. But I thank the Most High. This is going to be a spectacular day. There's going to be a lot of things done. There already are a lot of things moving. This morning I always get awakened by folks over in Africa regarding different things, and again, thank you all for your emails. I do read them, and I will if I don't respond. Now, if you give me about 30, 40 emails in my inbox a day, I ain't reading all those emails. I'm just being realistic with you. Just want to be honest. Some of them will catch my eye, and some of them I have to kind of gloss over as I'm putting out a couple of other different fires. And, in this time, in this season, as things are going, there's an experience of there's a lot of loss that's happening. A lot of loss. I was dealing with someone last week. They lost their mother-in-law. One of the colleagues that I work with that has been instrumental in getting a lot of things taken care of. He lost his mother, so he is traveling back to the continent to get some things taken care of. And these are we're in that generation, and I do have to say, when I take a look at the numbers, when I take a look at statistics, it's that you have a generation that, number one, I looked at something, it said millennials were dying, the fastest group of folks dying, a rate of people passing away. And the only thing I could think of is, that's crazy. How are these folks passing away so quickly? But I also understand that this is it's an effort, it's planned. And as I had again explained on this channel many times, thank the Most High, I'm still on here, still kicking. Yeah, Brother Garth, you are, yes, stress and toxic food, absolutely. But I'm going to tell you, I believe, yeah, it's a combination of both. But that stress is actually a translation or a translator of frustration. And that frustration is an anger. All of these things are built through the constructs of fear. If you don't think that fear is powerful. Why do you always hear from them, the dominant population group, the dominant population here? Oh, don't give in to fear. They'll tell you that is a moniker. Don't give in to fear. There's something. Don't give into it. Don't do it. Don't. On the other hand, with us, well, they always want us to remain what? Fearful, because when you're fearful, guess what you don't get a chance to do? You don't get a chance to analyze the situation and look at things for what it is. We in this generation, we've analyzed things, and instead of walking in fear, we've actually decided, you know what, it's time to walk in power. And I have been noticing a lot of the commentaries, especially from out of Africa, a lot of our African brothers and sisters seeing this and understanding this, because again, I'm going to tell you something about Africa. Africa has a lot of Asians there, particularly of Indian and Chinese descent. As I had explained, the reality is we've seen that on the ground where miners were kicked by Chinese owners because they were asking about wages that the Chinese owners refused to pay. This is less than 2 years ago. And when we had brought that up, it was a source of contention and everything else. And it's like, look, you see that they're on the dirt, they're swinging on things, and all these workers are saying is, hey, we're asking for our wages. And then that led to the locals saying, look, we're about to throw down. No one here, especially of African descent, is just on out there because what we have in our hearts are just excuse me, nothing but malicious intent. That's a lie. The fact that we're even are talking about this out in public and out and in these spaces, these YouTube spaces, well, guess what? For all the Asian folks are in here, glean some knowledge and understanding, wisdom. That's literally Proverbs chapter 1. And when you have succumbed to a foolish nation, then guess what? You're going to be a fool like them. I'm not going to be a fool. Yes, you are. Because now what has ended up happening is you have simply this: a nation that we have of no understanding. Why is it a nation of no understanding? Because they've created the nation to be able to not ask questions, to not identify what's going on, really to be idiots. I'm sorry if I'm being very, very crass on that. But we're living in a time of idiots with idiocracy. And I'm not the one saying it or showing it or demonstrating it. Lest you all forget, we had a UFC fight at the White House, a place that's supposed to have some sort of dignity and refinement, and it's looking like modern day Rome with the ultimate bread and circuses or bread and circus. And the only thing I can think of is we don't have much time left. I'm not here to give you time frames and say, hey, it's this and that and that and this. No, I can't do that. And I'm not going to do that. But what I can tell you is when they're demonstrating their actions, because why? Because the distractions distract away from the fear, because they don't want people to have wisdom and understanding. Proverbs chapter 1, the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, and judgment, up and equity. Let me tell you, all of these things here in Proverbs chapter 1, verse 3 is something that the U.S. does not have. Matter of fact, they tell you they don't have it. They don't want it. Remember, look, you see this? Do you see this equity here? Diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. What are they doing? Look, they're just rejecting knowledge and understanding. Why? We don't want to understand you. Now, I know the undertones of DEI and everything else. I get it, but they're not doing it for righteous sakes. They're doing it for the sakes of their vanity, because they have been in fear and they believe that their frustration point can be relieved by simply, well, we're just going to ignore everyone else. They're going back to the model that doesn't work. It's never worked. Right is not always right. And what that actually means is it's a collapse. It's a collapse from the inside, and it's making its way outside. And we can see how that collapse is taking shape. Proverbs chapter 1, verse 4 continues, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise, and their dark sayings. Come on. I think somebody had it on in here. Yes, this is Lily, Alila, excuse me. Dog whistles. And their dark sayings are now being exposed because nobody believes them. I continue to have emergency alert because supposedly on Friday the deal is going to be signed in Geneva, supposedly. This the question in my mind is, if you've already had this yesterday, or excuse me, last week, or sometime, more than 48 to 72 hours ago, why don't you just sign it on Monday? No, you want to know why? What's also on Friday, Juneteenth? What are they always trying to do? They're always trying to overshadow. Well, we're doing this right on this date because why? Because why? Because they hate us. We said it. We've been saying it. You're not a people that are loved. You are a people that's hated and despised, and they're going to try to do everything that they always can. Oh, well, it's just coordination. It's just this, is just that. No, we understand your dark sentences. You understand your darks. We understand there's a countdown here, and they know the countdown. They cannot move and proceed the way that they have always done. Because why? Because now we are understanding how they move. Because here's this Proverbs chapter 1, verse 6. Excuse me, verse 7. The fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a good idea? Do you think it's a good because when you are listening to wisdom and instruction, you actually have to listen to the truth. And when you are a foolish nation just means people are unwise because they'd rather follow a foolish endeavor than actually understanding the truth and knowledge that would then be able to help them and prosper them. And again, now they're in a season of a lack of prosperity. If you've noticed, it's a lack of prosperity. We felt it first. Shout out to Benia Israel. He put that on out there regarding the jobs and the lack thereof, especially for us. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that we can't do what the Most High is needing us to do. What that actually means is that we have been given the opportunity to work amongst ourselves. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at what that boycott is doing, because a lot of our people are now coming up. Shout out to Pastor Rick Fletcher and BLAP, the Black app. Black owned businesses, things of that nature. Look, it's happening. Now, the way that things are moving, I can throw on my academic hat and give you all sorts of detailed information regarding, all of the theory, analysis, stratagem. But simply put, the way that the global economy works, and if you're not doing well in your own global economy, that means that you've lost the global economy. You've lost the edge. You've lost the trust. You've lost the ability to do business. When I would say neo-diplomacy is the new currency, guess what? Well, diplomacy always does what? It always creates business opportunities. You have to be measured in your actions and in your speech. And if you want to be, bloviated, if you want to be blustering and everything else, thinking that that's fine, it may help with the people that's all about their image in a vanity society, which is what that is. But the reality is that the vanity will then destroy them. and that's destroying them right now. I didn't say it. They're now saying, they're now admitting it, and now, and them admitting it, they're fearful. Let me show you this article from Jeremy Warner of Telegraph. Fear of inflation forced Trump into an Iran deal. The U.S. president's recent agreement indicates economic pressures left him with little choice. What does that mean? These are dark sayings. Economic pressures, fear of inflation. It's a nice, tidy, little bowed up Fifth Estate column. It's not what you think. It's not that bad. It's not this. Fear of it. What? What's the fear? The fear is that it was costing them too much. They were trying to write a check that their butts could not cash. That's what that was. Who created the economic downturn? Y'all know who did. Mr. Rick says the loss of the god Mammon caused them to panic, and it did. What? We're gonna crush them. We're gonna do this. We're gonna, and the thing is, man, they were all up on it. They were all hyped up. They're all high on their own supply. Because why? Because you could see that there is little wisdom in there. You could see that there is little understanding. You could tell what it is that was what was happening and why things were happening. There was no understanding in them. Remember, when we say something, that's always hate. Oh, we're hate. It's hate. It's hate, 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 hate. Oh, here's the algorithm. Here come the hate police. Here's the algorithm. You hate me because why? Because I speak the truth. And then they'll say that's not what it is. It's the way that you say it. It's this, it's that. It's this. What? The reality is that they can't really even understand or interpret or compute what's happening because they have been so blinded, right? They're when the scripture said, look, they're going to be groping during the day. It's a blindness, but this blindness is a spiritual blindness, and now the spiritual blindness, the rest of the world sees it, and they're like, we're cool. You need to kind of stay away. We're gonna stay away. They're in a moment of time where there's something wrong with them. So going into this article, says here, no prizes for guessing what the Bank of England's interest rate decision will be this week. And some of the bank's monetary policy committee were still minded to vote for an increase in rates. Weekend news of a Gulf ceasefire allowing oil to start flowing across the Strait of Hormuz once more will have partially answered their concerns. Oil prices have reacted accordingly, taking some of the heat off of the outlook of inflation or for inflation, and thereby somewhat reducing interest rate expectations. The same is true of the U.S. Federal Reserve Open Market Committee, which also faces a rate decision this week. This will no doubt come as a disappointment to some in the media. Many had taken the view that Donald Trump had boxed himself into a war from which he could not exit. Well, the thing is that there isn't an exit just yet. There's a plan. There's a plan. Remember, they're still trying to sign the plan on what, Friday? On Juneteenth. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. I still liken everything to Janice and Jambries, right? There's two faces. You deal with one face and then you'll deal with another face. But I look at all this because it's very interesting that all this is happening. Well, we got to get this thing moving. We got to show how big this is. We got to work and explain how much bigger it is because it's that big and it's big because you want to know why? There's something going on today in Ghana. There's something happening in Ghana right now, today, as we speak. There's something that is going to cause the world to sit up, take note, and pay attention more than what you would have with just the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, someone can pay $300 billion for reparations for a war. And do you see that? They're having other countries pay for what they've done. That's truly amazing, isn't it? I'm going to have other countries pay for what has been done, what has been provided, or what has happened. Okay, America. All right, you don't want to pay reparations. We get it. Then push back on your European counterparts. Europe is going to say, nope, not us. That's y'all. I was analyzing and diagnosing what has been going on over the past couple of years. Pamela says, I have a friend who was spearheading this event in Ghana. It's a big deal. This is a big deal. Let me go ahead. I want to get into this article because, I would say this everything in the West now is a distraction point. Because, in my opinion, just as many other folks have shared and have stated on YouTube and other various platforms, this distraction point is something that we all understand and we all see where it's going. It's another rearmament. This time, it only took them 8 months to rearm. What will that rearmament rate be? Will it take them 4 months, or are they going to restart this back in October? Sometimes when they'll tell the truth, but they'll also will tell a lot of lies. So, hey, maybe it was that they could not do what they thought that they could do, or they did this, and this is just now a strategic pause. Because again, when does America ever honor its commitments? I am trying to find that authentic Israelite. I am trying to find that. She said, "Is the event in Ghana on YouTube? Can we view it somewhere?" Man, I would love to. Love to be a fly on the wall sitting there seeing that. Let's take a look at this article from a Carlos Murithi, 17 June today. Ghana to advance repertory justice at first major gathering since landmark UN resolution, head of state and participants from more than 80 countries at the 3-day event in Accra to pursue actionable commitments to reconciliation and restitution. Uh-oh. That's the Osu Castle in Accra. Ghana is hosting a conference to advance the continent's push for reparatory justice after the adoption of the landmark United Nations resolution declaring the trafficking of enslaved Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. Heads of states and governments, ministers, civil society representatives, historians, researchers, and legal experts representing more than 80 countries are converging in the capital, Accra, for the 3-day event. Build Next Steps, which starts on Wednesday today. It is the first major gathering on the issue since the resolution was adopted. The conference will feature an event on 19 June at Osu Castle, a 17th century fortress in the capital built by the Danish that served as a hub for the transatlantic slave trade, to honor Juneteenth, which marks the end of slavery in the U.S. Wait, hold up. Why are they specifically honing in on Juneteenth, which marks the end of slavery in the U.S.? Do you think that what they're doing is? Do you think that they're broadcasting what they're getting ready to do? I would argue that absolutely. Part of what they're trying to do in this event, they're saying it without saying it. In my opinion, you could take it or leave it. In my opinion, this is the first steps in the reclamation process of African Americans. Specifically African Americans, because why? Because African Americans, I'm sorry for all the other folks, and we have this discussions with all of our other brothers and sisters across the African diaspora, and that's just how it is. We have the most powerful voice. We do. And with the power of our voice is a very big influencer. We are very influential. Did y'all not see I Show Speed? Look. Yeah, brother God. Look, I don't care what type of psyop people want to say or do or anything else. This is happening. And yes, Marilyn Lumar, why is this happening? Well, you have to now position people. Hey, look, they're gonna kick you on out anyway. Shout out to Brother Yacoba. He done said it. You're getting kicked on out. You didn't think that you're gonna get kicked out, but you're gonna get kicked on out. And when you get kicked on out, don't get mad. Don't get angry. Get some understanding and get some wisdom. You better start reading Proverbs chapter 1. Because why? Because we done told you. You can get mad. You can get as angry as you want to be with us. That is between you and the Most High. All we're doing is telling you what the Most High's word says. If you have a disagreement with it, talk to him. That's his word. Father, I don't like what you're saying. I love this place. I want to stay in Babylon forever. I love being economically repressed. I love not having a job that pays a good wage. I used to, but that was the case because they were just holding on, but they couldn't have the facade last forever. And economy and economics, guess what? Just as we've seen time and time again, in any type of a recession or depression, guess what they do? They limit the amount of liquidity, i.e., monetary flow of cash capital from our communities. How come we're getting poor? Because it's systematically an effort to do that. And then when they say, no, that's not true, what ends up happening a couple years later? Oh, well, it come to find out the last administration come to find out this administration come to find out reports have suggested that yes, the African American community had been disenfranchised, and the government would like to issue an apology. We've heard this all before. Remember Reaganomics? Remember the Clinton era? It- but the only people that actually believe it have been our people, especially our people in the older generation. There's no people. A lot of people are saying, "No, what's your opinion on this?" I think America's cooked. That's what our younger generation's saying. This place is done. Why? Look, nobody believes this. These folks aren't here. Look, you know what they're looking at doing? Just being an influencer. Man, why is that? Because traditionally, we know we're not going to be able to get a job. Why is that? Because they're dealing with the same thing in house with their family members, more than likely not being able to have a job. I've heard these stories from the kids that I've taught over and over again. Yeah, we used to live over here. We used to live over there. They used to live in nice places, nice areas. We had to move. Because why? Because the economy, the economic livelihoods had been affected. They don't know what that means at 13, 14 years old. They'll just hear from their family, we're going through some rough times. We're going through some hard times. And don't worry, you're not the only one impacted going through the hard times. And now a lot of the generation, they're disillusioned. I had one of the sisters had shared a text with me. She said, "Brother Karras, take a look at this." And I told her this morning, I said, "Yeah, I covered that last week, and it was the article by Clint Smith of the from the Atlantic of the general or the retired generals and the retired colonels that they're looking and they're saying, what has happened to the military? And I would argue this is that it's nothing has happened to the military. It's just that the military was actually showing you what the military is all about. They had to have the time to make it look as though, hey, everything is fine. Everything is good. Everything is great. We have this diversity. We have equity. And then they say inclusion. We have all that. But what do they hate? They hate equity. Oh, well, I don't care if you're of your own merit. I don't care if you have this. I don't care if you've done all that. You know how many scholars are there in the military? Especially African American scholars. A lot of our people hold doctorates, PhDs, certifications that are just unreal. What did that do? That made us more competitive. Because when you did apples to apples in terms of what that competitive outlook looks like, a lot of our people just don't go in the military to party it on up and do this and do that. You want to know, when I was in the military, a lot of our black brothers and sisters, I have a plan. I'm going to do this, this, and this. Look, they had a plan to go to college. They had a plan to not just go to college, but they had a plan to get commissioned. They had a plan to do this. They had a plan. You heard more of the plans from our people than you did from them. I'm just here to have fun because my grandfather, my dad, and then I'm going to go home and do what do whatever. Also, if I like it, then I'll stay in. What did you do? What service schools did you go to? What trainings did you do? I actually have to do that all the time. Folks would be coming on in. Yeah, I'm getting processed on out. This is my last day. I didn't make the board. I didn't make the cut. What did you do? Did you do any of the trainings? Did you go to any of the service schools? No, I was just kind of living my life. Because why? Because they have accepted a culture where people are drinking all the time. Trump one showed that this administration, they're not even trying to hide it. And this is why the Lego videos were torching them regarding what it's like now in the DOD. And traditionally speaking, for black folks, that was actually a safe space, relatively speaking. Hey, you want to have a military going to the or a career going to the military? I was told that. I was told that at the age of 19 years old. I was already in the military. My uncle said, "Hey, guess what? If you want to do what you're trying to do and have this and have that, go on active duty." And I was kind of like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I got mobilized, came back. A box fell off the grating at UPS, almost killed me. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to be deleted, I'd rather do it in combat, doing something honorable than being deleted by a 15-pound box dropping 20 feet from a grating that almost took me out of this world on this side of the grave. And when I did that decision, I'm going to tell you this. That was the best decision of my life. And I thank the Most High that He allowed me to see that. I thank the Most High that He kept me safe. I thank the Most High that He allowed me to do what I wanted to do, my heart's desire, because my heart's desire was actually His desire that He put into me to do what? To serve Him. I was learning things so that at a later date it would be utilized to serve Him. And all I can think of was, wow, well, thank you, Father. Wow. Well, thank you, Father. Wow. I was given many opportunities. And when I had those opportunities, I didn't sleep on them. Long days, long nights. But I made those sacrifices and I made those commitments because I said, "Thank you, Father. It's going to be. It's in the long run." I said, "I know it's. I know what you have. Your plan is. I don't know exactly what your plan is, but I know it's going to be a benefit." Had I had known the benefit, oh my goodness! Had I had just had a little bit of understanding, and now these are one of the safety nets. Those perceived safety nets are gone because why? Because Babylon is collapsing. We have the strongest military in the world. No, you don't. And now you just saw it. You just witnessed it. Why did they lose? I'm going to tell you why they lost. Because it was black folks that just said, eh, we're not trying to come over here dying because of your vanity. What were we doing? We were praying that our brothers and sisters out there were safe, that the Most High had them taken care of. In the name of Yahusha HaMashiach, that the Most High had his hedge of protection against them, or excuse me, around them, so that their enemies couldn't touch them. And I had always said this. I wasn't afraid of the Iranians. Even when I was deployed, I wasn't afraid of any of the bad actors or anybody else. I wasn't. I was actually more afraid of the people I was serving with. It's all right, Copeland. We like you. You're one of the good ones. Okay. Ha ha ha. Great. I don't know what to say. Ha ha ha. Well, let me go over here because if I truly say what I want to say on my mind, then I'm not going to be one of those good ones very much longer. And I will be one of those ones that's the troublemaker. That's a nuisance. That's a this. That's a that. Captain Copeland, why didn't you get on and stay on active duty, Captain Copeland. We could have done this. You could have done that. We have your career planned out. Oh, and they did. Don't get it twisted. They did. You could go here, you could go there, and I'm going to tell you, at those times, those duty assignments were great. I was like, oh man, but I said, but I can't do it. Seeing, and I told him, I said, seeing how this thing is going, I said I can. I said, no, I said it's time for me to gracefully bow out. I appreciated the career. I appreciated what I learned. I appreciated the experiences, but I need to go. And I told him that I need to go because, quite simply, my heart's not in this. And when you see the decline, you know the decline. They know the decline. But you know what? We need good officers like you, so we can, so we can get back. Your input is valuable. That's what they're always trying to say. You know what? Ugh. They're speaking to some vanity points. Oh boy, my info. Oh boy. And when I see these articles of, well, it's not the same America, and well, all this and all that's happening, and this is going on, and well, what do you think the lack of justice was going to mean? You think that, and I was telling this to people, I was like, do you think that these other nations are just going to see what's happening and be like, oh, well, it is what it is. That's just how things work, and we can't change anything. And I told people, I'm like, no, folks are looking, folks are seeing, and there will be a reaction. This is now the reaction. The conference will feature an event on June 19th or 19 June at Oso Castle, a 17th century fortress in the capital built by the Danish that served as a hub for the transatlantic slave trade to honor Juneteenth. Why are they honoring a U.S. holiday that they're now trying to get rid of? Which marks the end of slavery in the U.S. Because, as I have stated, they see everything that we're going through, that we're doing. If you did not know, we are, we're the big brothers. We're the big sisters. We have that familial connection like that. We have that honor like that. The folks that are the speaking or the mouthpiece of, let's call it what it is, a mouth of white supremacy, they don't want you to know that. Well, I thought the Africans didn't like us. Who said that? And the people that say that, they just want their butter biscuits, and their butter biscuits is, well, if I say that Africans don't like us, Africans don't like us, Africans don't like us, oh, there goes my algorithm. Yeah. And because, they don't like us, and because, do you not think that, do you not realize that that's how they program these things? Do you not realize that that is how you are socially conditioned? How do you get on this algorithm? We'll say what we want you to say, do what we want you to do. Instead of rappers 20, 30, 40 years ago, you now have influencers. But here's the thing, don't push me because I'm close to the edge. Ha 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 ha. I got the feeling sometimes that make me wonder why they don't want to pay us reparations. Expected speakers include the African Union Commission Chair, Mahamoud Ali Yusuf, Prime Minister Mia Motley of Barbados, President John Mahama, Joseph Boakai, Natumbo Nandi Nadatwa, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, Emmanuel Macron of Ghana, Liberia, Namibia, Senegal, and France, respectively. What did I tell you? I was trying to explain this to y'all, but I know that, and it's hard, it's there's some spiritual things going on, and I get it, and I get it. You have Macron there, you have France there. France is there because I've told you this. Them European countries, they're not loyal to white supremacy. White supremacy, believe it or not, is a construct of the United States. You even will have that. You had it a couple of years ago in even the UK, where it's, we don't think like that, and we know that that way of thinking, that doesn't do anything. That actually, it's worse. I had that conversation. No kidding. Almost 7 years ago. I had that conversation about 10 years ago with some officers from France. They knew what was on the horizon. It is not the American people. It is not you all. It is your president. He does not understand how the global society works. Excuse me. You have and have always had here in the United States an exportation of vanity. This thing was exported. This white supremacy was exported. Living in America. It was exported. Minister Red says my grandfather fought with the French in World War One and left French medals. Yep. The French actually loved us. That's why you have a lot of American derived, African American derived folks that were there in France before and after World War II. I said, "No, forget this. I'm not going on. I'm not going back there." Yes, and America did teach Germany. Yes, they did. That was the model. Where did they learn all this hate from? Well, they learned it from here. That's been documented. That is a known fact. A fact that's been documented, a fact that has been shown, a fact that's been demonstrated. Because why? Because what they always try to do, they always try to outrun their history. Why do you think they hate history? Why do you think they say, "Oh, that's CRT, that's this, and that"? And they hate history because it tells on them. It indicts them. Why? Because if they are now one of the people on the other side of the gravest crimes against humanity, then guess what that means? Somebody's going to have to pay. Someone is going to have to come out of their pockets, especially at a time where America's pockets are hurting. Okay, well, let's tax more other people. Let's get rid of more jobs and let's have robots in there. I was in the store the other day. A couple days ago, I was in the store with my son, and there was a robot. I don't know what that thing was saying. I'm damn, I'm damn, something stupid. I don't even know. But what I did see and what I could perceive was this. That's the future of what they're trying to do because they're trying to get rid of jobs. Well, naturally, when you get rid of jobs, what else are you gonna get rid of? People. You're gonna get rid of people through what? Through either a mass migration event. I don't even know why people think that that's such a hard concept. How do you think those Europeans got here to the US to begin with? A mass immigration event? I don't think people realize, remember the potato famine of the 1800s? Mass immigration event? No, we came through as indentured. Yeah, you came through because somebody paid for you to come here, and then guess what? You had to pay them back. You were not slaves. Get out of here. Stop. And now they're reclassifying you because, well, the America you thought you knew is not the America you thought you knew. But it's been the same America that we've been saying for hundreds of years. Now that the reckoning is here, now all of a sudden they're trying to get some, I don't know, it's a weird type of amnesia. Yeah, but I know, yeah, but it's it's like trying to have all the excuses, but there's no excuse. Good luck, nice try. It's really no excuse, but I get it. It's a nice try. I understand. I get where you're coming from. I'm trying to be more understanding of your situation and your predicament. Help me to understand what you're saying. I'm pretty sure that that's what the psychologist had to explain to those Iranians when dealing with the Trump administration. How do we deal with foolish people? My question is, my question was, what psychologist did they utilize? Who did they talk to as that expert psychologist? Because they need to talk to some African American psychologists. I'm telling you, man, I got the weirdest job. For some odd reason, I got hired by the government of Iran. They're trying to figure out how to deal with white folks. You are black people. You all know how to deal with a white people. We do not understand why they are so crazy. Let me stop you right there. It's not all white folks. I'm not going to put that in the basket. Okay, there's a certain group of white folks influencing other white folks to be crazy. Okay, let's just clear the air. And they have a very strong influence because them dog whistles are going like no other. And them hit dogs are hollering. Yeah, to me, this is why you definitely see France on in there. France is trying to, again, they are transferring the risk. It ain't us. Matter of fact, we got bamboozled. Look at us. Look at what we're trying to do. Look at this. The reality is that when you do go to the British influenced areas of Africa, then you go to the French influenced areas of Africa. Them French influenced areas of Africa are pretty horrendous. Because the French, they really did not care. At least the British tried to build things up. They tried to act like they had an appearance of caring. That's it, brother Asaf. He says France is trying to get forgiven to get back in Africa. Absolutely. Their economy is actually running on fumes. They are now an actual welfare client nation to these African nations. They're not going to tell you that, but they are now. They are now a welfare slash client nation. The roles have tremendously reversed. And if you don't think that the roles have reversed, what would compel France to even give up? You realize what they're doing. They're literally having to give up their supreme role of white supremacy. It's for them it's catastrophic. This is a catastrophic endeavor. But it's not just going to be the French. The French are taking the lead because, again, they know what's happening. They know what time it is. Do you think that they're going to get funds from the U.S. after this quote unquote excursion? Absolutely not. They already know that they're gonna try to be thrown under the bus by the U.S. Do you see where this is going? Remember when Trump was trying to pull in all the allies and all the partners? Because why? Because he wanted to try to throw people under the bus because it was not working out for him. Let me try to get in as many people as I can. Because why? Because I'm not trying to foot this $300 billion bill. They knew they messed up. Oh, don't think that they won because they got all of these different things that they have to do. You know what? That's what I was trying to tell people. And I explained it. And I'm glad that the Most High is showing everything that I was explaining to you all. Even when they lose, they're gonna act like they won. They didn't win. They didn't. This is just what we're trying to do to make sure that we're they didn't win. Wait a second. Y'all are paying. I don't care how you think, you're trying to have somebody else pay for your loss. You still lost. You We didn't lose. We had somebody else paying for a lot. And guess what they're gonna do? They're jumping over to China probably right now as we speak. We're not gonna pay for all this. This is gonna be going back to the United States. Forget this. I told you. Those Middle Eastern countries, they're threatened. Don't think that they're doing that of their own accord and volition. They're threatened. They know that they're threatened. Hey, if you don't pay for this, we're going to delete you. Y'all act like these backroom diplomatic actions are all friendly and everything else. No, it's not. These folks are getting breathed threats at them all the time. And when UAE, more than likely, Saudi Arabia and Qatar were not in the position to fight the war because they were thinking, oh, well, the U.S. has got it and they're going to bring along some allies and everything else, especially from these European nations. And when they said no, it was just a matter of time. I'm like, yeah, they lost. Now they're just trying to figure how to mitigate the damage. This is now you're seeing now how the European nations are trying to mitigate the damage. Hey, we lost, so we need to get back into Africa. How are you going to get back into Africa? Well, this time we actually have to be subjected to fair and balanced and equal treatment, to equity. Uh-oh. To justice. Uh-oh. You see how that paradigm is shifting? Why do you think right now? Why did it show that the United States was the single biggest obstacle to world safety and security? Why do you think? These nations are like, okay, we got it, the sham is over, the cosplay is over, the dress up is over. Look, we just need to get on with our lives and see that this delusion of white supremacy, it didn't work. It's a delusion. It's a vanity. It's a vain imagination. It's not working. No, it is going to work, and we're going to make it work, and it's going to work forever and ever. And now the nations are seeing the U.S. for what it truly is and has been. This isn't anything new to us. We've already known this. We've just been saying this is what's going to happen when they self destruct, and they're now self destructing. Well, I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to articulate it. Because again, this isn't something that's just out of the blue. We're now seeing this coming to be. We're now seeing this come to fruition. Notice who's not there. Did you see anything from the United States? Absolutely not. This is something that they are vehemently shunning. I guarantee you. There's nothing to see here in Accra. There's nothing to see here in Ghana. We're here. We're bigger than ever. Yeah, exactly. The Diamond Lady says the place in the Eastern Mediterranean is still attacking Lebanon. I don't think the MOU will hold. It's not going to. You want to know what the awesome thing about all this is? This is the very first time that the nations are actually seeing what is actually happening. They're seeing the Janus and Jambres effect of Rome. Well, we're really not a people. Okay. Well, we're really not that. Okay. That was in the plan. Hey, all hostilities need to stop in Lebanon. That was one of the very first key points. Why? Because they're recognizing this place. It's one and the same. Do you think that when people start to recognize and understand the game and call out the game, what do you think ends up happening? The game is over. All right, we got to give up. They figured this one out. They've gone to the source. Intrigue. Shadowy talk. They like to hide in the shadows. This is why it's like, hey, when this thing comes, when this thing happens, when they see it happening, they see it happening. Now everybody's trying to get up away from that particular influence. Minister Rick said, the jig is up. Every nation for itself, man. You beat me. You beat me to the punch. Yeah, what is it? The necromonger had Had that two-faced symbolism in Riddick. Absolutely. Mm. Oh, see, West, man, you hit that nail on the head. The sell-off of Babylon citizens to sell or to her debtors. Oh my goodness. What did it say? I sit a widow, I'll see no loss of my children. Oh boy. Which means that they're going to see the loss of the children. Do you see how this goes? Do you see now how we're able to see how the Most High has explained this? Because it's opposite talk. When they say something like this, then it actually is that. Bizarro world. Look how the Most High moves. Very interesting. Oh, yeah, and Africa is winning. Don't get it twisted. They are winning. Want to know why they're winning? Because they're showing you how they're established in this framework. Participants are engaging in dialogue around 5 objectives, including formulating a framework to advance the resolution's objectives globally and establishing global panels on repertory justice and restitution to transform political momentum into common, concrete institutional commitment for reparatory justice, i.e., they're going to have a bank of reparations. I'm just trying to tell you how to read between these lines here. They're trying to have a bank of reparations. Hey, transform political momentum into common, concrete institutional commitment. Hey, we are going to have the guidelines, then turn into a bank, and then monies and things are going to come here. This is happening. This is moving. This is real. Make no mistake about it. They know what's going on, i.e., this country knows what's going on. Just for the life of them, they will never say it. How can they say it? Just think about it. In their own good conscience, how can they actually state that they're dying? How can they actually state that they're on their deathbed? How can they actually state that that terminal cancer of vanity has caused them to succumb to this? Oh, Damien, I think you did hit. I think you did hit the nail on the head. This article is for us Black Americans to go back home to Africa without the U.S. permission. That's what it's getting. that's the vibe per se. The conference comes nearly 3 months after the UN General Assembly voted to adopt a proposal by Ghana on behalf of AU member states to recognize the trafficking, of enslaved Africans and the racialized chattel enslavement of people from the continent as the gravest crime against humanity. A total of 123 states voted in favor of the proposal, while three, the U.S., the Eastern Mediterranean nation, and Argentina, voted against it in 52, including the UK, and all EU member states abstained. The transatlantic slave trade lasted about 400 years, from early 16th century to the late 19th century. Many previous initiatives by African countries to address decades of injustices, such as the forced enslavement of their people, had been largely fragmented. The resolution marked the watershed moment for the continent's campaign for reparative justice after efforts including the Abuja Proclamation of 1993 that demanded reparations for colonialism and its transatlantic slave trade, and helped lay the groundwork for the campaign. Ghana says its concept note for the conference: this resolution represents a fundamental departure from the international community's response to the transatlantic slave trade, replacing commemorative gestures with the pursuit of historical truth and dialogue aimed at reconciliation and justice, i.e., somebody's going to pay. What is that? Commemorative gestures. No, we're not doing that anymore. When you define loss, this is what a loss looks like. The power is gone. What they're showing you is a power that's no longer present. The US can say that it's all this and all that. Look, we could still be subjugated to all sorts of craziness. Yeah. Even right now, as I'm bringing this to you, yeah, I'm not safe. I'm just telling you the truth. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father. I'm telling you the truth. But what I am telling you and what I am showing you is what it is that we all see, what it is that the Most High's word has declared from ancient. You already know what Joel chapter 3, verse 8 says. Can you render me a recompense? This is being nice. I'm just saying, come on now. This is being nice. They know. Look, I'm going to tell you this. Let's let's see. Chapter 3. What are those days? The days that our captivity is coming to an end. And in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. I believe, just my opinion, this is a valley of Jehoshaphat moment. How many nations? You got 80 nations. And you already know it's going to be even more than that because, France is there to represent the EU. Don't get it twisted. And will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. And they cast lots. They have cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot and sold a girl for wine that they might drink, which is all documented through history. There's no CRT on this one. You see why they wanted to push that CRT agenda and narrative? Because this was coming. Yay, and what do you have to do with me, O Tyree and Zidane and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head. Oh, they're going to get the payback. This is the Most High. This is the Most High showing the nations. Here it is. Because why? Because those nations, I told you, he was breaking them down in the background. He just wasn't showing us how bad he was breaking them. And they were being broken pretty bad. Oh, well, it's just it's inflation and inflationary. Well, why do you think that is? Because it was costing them. Well, yes, but it was the inflation. You see, that's the shadowy talk. That's all they know how to do. When you talk so much shadowy talk, speak plainly. We all getting hurt. Yes. Was that causing you to pay more than what you could stomach? Yes. They knew. They still know. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold and have carried them and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. That's the Vatican. Why do you think the Vatican is, hey, they want to make that acknowledgement. Why? Because somebody's going to get scapegoated and thrown under the bus. That's the U.S. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders. Whoa, why do you think that they're talking about celebrating this and commemorating this on Juneteenth, an American holiday in the U.S.? Even though, quote unquote, it was the end of slavery, it's still captivity. Don't get it twisted. Behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. There's no more talk. There's no more commemorative gestures. There's none of that. Now it's money, it's resources, it's payment. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah. They shall sell them to the Sabaeans, to a people far off. For Yahuwah had spoken it. For Yahuwah has spoken it. We're not saying anything. This is what the Most High has said. Why is this? Because we already know that you're not going to do this of your own free will and of your own volition. We would have healed Babylon. She refused to be healed. Now, here it comes. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Why is that? Hey, listen. You want those resources in Africa? We want our people back. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, gather yourselves together round about. Thither calls thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahuwah. Because why? Because the Most High is going to set nation against nation. Do you all see this now? Don't think that Europe is just going to come by itself. Nah, Europe is going to bring some people. All of a sudden, You'll start to see, you know what? We got a common understanding. We've got a common framework. We started to realize, see, all of a sudden they're going to say, we started to realize that all of our troubles, they had all come from the US. All of a sudden, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Here it is. There's the difference between the heathen and the Gentile. All of these unrepentant, godless folks that don't even want to have any truth or semblance of righteousness. It's going to happen. This is what is happening. There are nations that will survive. There are nations that the ships of Tarshish will be coming through to bring back the Most High's children. Isaiah 60. For the nation that doesn't serve Yahuwah shall be what? Shall be destroyed. It's that simple. Joel chapter 3:13. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. This is a time of judgment. We would have healed Babylon. This is a time of judgment. You would have been healed if you had just acknowledged what you had done and paid up. If you had just acknowledged what you had done and literally just paid up. This isn't just about, well, it's somebody getting rich and we're being poor. No, this is about righteousness. This is about understanding and having wisdom. Because if you do wicked, you're going to then be judged in that wickedness. They didn't even want to try to heal themselves from that wickedness. That's horrible. Are you at least going to try? Nope. Are you at least going to do? Nope. We don't even care. They said that. Their actions have said it. Their mouths have said it. Their hearts have said it. They were hardened for this moment. Multitudes in the valley of decision. The day of Yahuwah is near in the valley of decision. Why? Here you are, right here in the valley of decision. This is a time frame. It ain't just, well, it's one decision, it's one this. This is the time frame. In that day and in those days and in that time. Don't think that this is just happenstance. It's no. You're getting ready because why? Because it's a setup. The Most High works in the legal process. He is an Elohim of law and order because his laws do not change. His word does not change. His ordinances do not change. There is the legality to this because he is an awesome Elohim. He is fair. We got judged because we broke his laws and then we went into captivity. A man that takes another man captive, a man that kidnaps another man, well, that man is set to die. That's the same thing with the nation. Guess what that nation's going to do? It's going to die. Not everybody in that nation's going to perish, but it's going to have a spiritual death. It's not going to be the same. It will go in essence, bye-bye. Who was this? Who was that? Man, it was just a really wicked people. Oh, That's what's going to end up happening. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. Why? All these nations are seeing that something's getting ready to happen and occur. They're not able to show themselves in that bright manner. Joel 3 and 16, Yahuwah shall also roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but Yahuwah will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. So shall ye know that I am Alua, or Yahuwah, your Elohim, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no stranger pass through her any more. And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountain shall drop new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters. And a fountain shall come forth out of the house of Yahuwah, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. But Judah shall dwell forever and ever, Jerusalem from generation to generation, for I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed. For Yahuwah dwelleth in Zion. Yah is with us. Remember, I told people, don't look at what people say, look at what they do. Yahuwah is having us roar. We are a people that's seeing one of the greatest miracles in our generation. Who would have thought? We just didn't know what the miracle was going to look like because we thought it was just going to be bang, bang, a Hollywood production. I think when it's all said and done and people start to see all the things going on, it will be that Hollywood production, just in my opinion. But family, I got to get go. I'm being summoned to get some stuff taken care of. Hallelujah. The Most High is still on his throne. Continue to pray for this channel and these channels and for the Most High's people. We're in some interesting times. And continue to pray for his protection and his mercy. We're in this. Don't think that they are very happy about this, about seeing the decline of their nation. They see it. They don't like us talking about it because why? Because they see it. We are still literally in the heart, in the midst of Babylon. We are still in captivity. And like I said, when we're in captivity, someone was going to have to bring this about. And we're seeing it today through the 19th. I'm telling you, look, something's going to happen. You're going to start to see it in the next couple of weeks once this happens. Hallelujah. If you like this to support this channel, please do so. $COVAWK1 or PayPal or Zelle at karasi@msn.com. Look, your support of this channel, it does wonders. And I thank the Most High for you all helping this channel. I'm able to do these calls in the background. I'm able to work and coordinate and utilize certain things. I am trying to work on different things going on. I have been finishing up because it's been literally your support, but I have been finishing up all of my post dissertation activities. The post dissertation activities, it's about a total of $1,500. And I think our viewers, one person had provided a really substantial help, and I thank them for that. And the reason being is because there's graduation application fees, there's dissertation, or excuse me, publishing fees and editing fees and things of that nature. So, with the Most High's help, I've been able to do that. Now again, what that also does provide, once I do have that, the paperwork, and that's what it is paperwork. Once I do have that, then I am going to be off to the races and writing some more books. That's one of the things that I want to get taken care of. And the way that I want to write this book this time, is I want to write the book based off of all the things that I have been mentioning in this channel. So what I'd be doing is, I would be downloading I would be downloading all of the content that I've had, because it's some really good content. And a lot of this stuff, I'm like, thank you, Father, because this is all inspired by the Ruach Hakodesh. And I just need to now make sure that it is organized correctly, succinctly, right, and then throw on in there some great references. So this time it will be a very good book of concordance, and things of this nature, because we have gone through some very transformative times in really the last 6 months. I don't know if people really could understand this, and I'm not even saying 6 months. We've been going through some transformative times within the last 2 years. You see what I'm saying? So that's why it's kind of like getting on that and working through that, and getting this on out to our people. Um, it's a big deal, and it helps because a lot of times our people don't think that we're in the background. We just kind of get off the broadcast and we're just kind of on our lonesome and things of that nature. And it's like, no, that's not the case with me. I, I get off the broadcast and I am working in the background to make a lot of things happen. And when it does come to fruition, and I'm able to show how the Most High is moving, right, because there are works to this. There are works to this, right? There's one thing to just come through every single day. Yeah, hey, it's an inspirational moment, hallelujah. And it's another thing to say, hey, guess what? What we've done with this container is doing this. What we're doing in Ghana is doing that. How we're doing in this is doing that. And let me tell you, it has opened up so many tremendous doors. It's not even funny. And I can't tell you just all of the things. Now I have explained that within QTUA, and our people are there in the background. We're doing some tremendous work. So continue to support QTUA. I am talking to our person right now, fixing all of that. So Most High willing, everything will be getting back to where it needs to get to. And yes, I'm telling you, people are chasing us down for a lot of these infrastructure projects. And some infrastructure projects, they're just so incredible. I can't share that just yet. I intend to do, but again, it's going to probably be in about another 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months. But during that time, I want to again, what I will then do is, my intent is to do another neo diplomacy class here, I would say, in probably another month and a half, as well as releasing another book probably in the same time frame. So I don't know if people know know my my book writing process. I'm a weirdo at writing books, man. I just so you see me talking, man. You should see me when I put my reading glasses on. I'm just typing it up, and I just say, thank you, Father. Father, Yah, I give you praise and I give you glory, and I just go to work. I go to town. 5 pages, 10 pages, 20 pages, 50 pages, 100 pages. The last book I actually had to stop. I had to stop myself because I could have gone for, for a while. So, but yeah, again, that's what happens. That's why I try to qualify. Like, hey, thank you for your gifts, your support. This does help. This does do things for the community. If I could even articulate a lot of what it does for the community, um, it would be very. I would say this: the Most High is moving in a very tremendous and substantial way. You're seeing the front end of a lot of things that's happening on the back end. I think that's the best way to say it. And that's why I tell people, I'm like, hey, if you don't believe me, I said, I'll tell people, pray about it. Pray about it. If you don't want to support, I tell people, pray about it. But yeah, let me get up on out of here because I do have some folks waiting on me so we can get this stuff together. Hallelujah. So with that said, family, most high willing, excuse me, most high willing, I'll be back on tomorrow, and we shall see what these next 24 hours holds for us. But I really can't wait to see what these updates are going to be when they're coming out of Accra. And again, it's about 1:30 in Accra, so they're still in the midst of this. So if I do see something very, very substantial, I will then jump on here. So with that being said, most high willing, I will be back on tomorrow. And with that, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings. Yasharel.